Attention passionate Washington Commanders fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Washington Commanders' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Washington Commanders fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with YOUR, FRINDS and Washington Commanders FANS. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you're a fan of the Washington Commanders, you know that the NFC East is always a battleground, a division where every move counts, where every player's performance can tip the scales. And right now, there's some buzz, some whispers of a potential move that could shake things up significantly. It's about a player who has been underrated for years, but who finally seems to be getting the recognition he deserves, Trey Hendrickson. Yes, the defensive end from the Cincinnati Bengals. And let me tell you, this is not just any player. Hendrickson has been one of the most consistent and disruptive pass rushers in the league over the last few years, and now, with his contract situation, the doors could be opening for a major change in the NFC East landscape. So, let's break this down. Trey Hendrickson, as many of you know, has been a force on the Bengals' defensive line. He's not just a guy who racks up sacks. He's a game changer, someone who can turn the tide of a game with his relentless pressure and ability to get to the quarterback. And in 2024, he did exactly that. Leading the NFL with 17.5 sacks, Hendrickson finally got the recognition that many analysts and fans have been arguing for years. Not only did he lead the league in sacks, but he also accumulated the most over the past 2 seasons combined. That's a testament to his consistency, his durability, and his ability to perform under pressure. Now, here's where things get interesting. Hendrickson is entering the final year of his contract with Cincinnati, and he has made it very clear that he's not interested in just riding out his deal without some changes. He's looking for a restructured contract, something that reflects his value, his production, and his importance to the team. And if the Bengals aren't willing to do that, well, trade talks could be on the table. Hendrickson himself has gone public, appearing on the Pat McAfee show down in New Orleans, and he didn't hold back. He talked openly about his fantastic season, about how he prefers playing without gloves, and about his future in the NFL. But what stood out most was his loyalty. He's all about winning a Super Bowl. Whether that's with the Bengals or elsewhere, his priority is to help his team reach the ultimate goal. And this is where the Washington Commanders could come into play. Think about it, Hendrickson wants to win. He wants to be paid what he's worth, and the Bengals might be facing a tough choice. If Cincinnati's front office is unwilling to meet his demands, they might be forced to trade him, especially with his contract expiring after the season. And the Commanders, with their recent surge and their need to bolster that defensive front, could be the perfect landing spot. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what about the price? Will it be too high? Well, here's the thing. Hendrickson isn't the only player available. The Bengals could look for a significant return, maybe draft picks or younger players, to replace him and rebuild that front. And the Commanders, with their cap space and their desire to take that next step, could definitely make a move. Let's talk about that potential move because it's not just about securing a star pass rusher. It's about a strategic shift, a statement to the NFC East. The Commanders have been building steadily, and with the rookie deal of Jaden Daniels, they're in a prime position to go all in on defense. Strengthening that line with a proven veteran like Hendrickson could be just what they need to push over the top and become serious contenders. Remember, their offense was electric in 2024, with players like Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson leading the way, but their defense sometimes struggled to show up when it mattered most. Adding Hendrickson could be the missing piece that transforms their defense from decent to elite. Now, let's compare Hendrickson with some other options that have been discussed in recent weeks. For instance, there was chatter about the Cleveland Browns and Myles Garrett. Garrett, as many of you know, is a superstar, a game wrecker. The price for Garrett might be way too steep for the Commanders. We're talking about a player who is at the very top of his game and will command a premium in any trade. Hendrickson, on the other hand, has been just as disruptive, if not more consistent, over the last 5 seasons, and he might cost significantly less in draft picks and cap space. Plus, he's only a year older than Garrett, so he still has plenty of prime playing years ahead. And here's the thing, the Commanders need to be aggressive. They're in a window now, especially with Jaden Daniels on a rookie deal, which means they can allocate resources toward upgrading their defense without sacrificing their offensive core. A trade for Hendrickson would be a shrewd move, one that signals their intent to compete now and in the future. It's about making bold decisions, about not hesitating when the opportunity arises. Because in the NFL, the teams that strike early and decisively are often the ones that come out on top. So the big question is, will Cincinnati be willing to let Hendrickson go? That's still up in the air. The Bengals have a lot of options, and if they decide not to pay him what he's worth, they might prioritize rebuilding their defense through the draft or free agency. But if they do decide to trade him, the Commanders should be ready to pounce. Because Hendrickson can bring that pass rush punch they need to elevate their defense, to make their secondary and overall team more threatening. Imagine Hendrickson lining up on that defensive line, creating chaos on every snap, forcing quarterbacks into mistakes, and giving the Commanders' young secondary plenty of opportunities to capitalize. That's the kind of impact a player of his caliber can have. And with the NFL being as competitive as it is, every edge counts. The Commanders have shown they're willing to invest in their future, and making a move like this could be the difference between just being a playoff team and being a true Super Bowl contender. Of course, there are still questions. Will Cincinnati be open to trading him? What kind of draft picks or players will they demand? Can the Commanders afford the trade, both in terms of cap space and assets? Those are things to watch in the coming weeks. But one thing is clear, the potential for Hendrickson to wear the burgundy and gold is very real, and it's a storyline that could define the NFC East in 2024. This is the kind of move that could energize the fan base, that could send a message to the division that the Commanders are serious about winning now. And honestly, with Hendrickson's production, his leadership, and his hunger for a championship, he could be that difference maker that pushes Washington into that next tier of NFL teams. And let's not forget, he's a player who's just entering his prime, with plenty of football left to give. So, as we keep an eye on this story, remember that the NFL offseason is full of surprises. Sometimes, the moves that seem small on paper turn out to be game changers. And right now, the possibility of Trey Hendrickson ending up in Washington is one of those stories that could reshape the NFC East. It's about seizing opportunities, about making bold decisions, and about building a team that's ready to contend for a Super Bowl. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this potential move? Do you believe the Commanders should pull the trigger and trade for Hendrickson? Would he be the perfect fit to boost that pass rush and elevate the entire defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters a lot to us and to the future of the Washington Commanders. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, more news, and more analysis. So stay tuned, keep supporting your team, and let's see how this story unfolds. Because, folks, the NFL offseason is just getting started, and the Commanders are right in the middle of it all.